The outcome, but for Murph, having signed an extension once yourself, what do you think this does for him and the team?
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I mean, obviously, well deserved, and he had a great first 2 years, and we love having him around. And I know this was his last one that he had, so it's good that he'll be here for this year, at least a couple more, and hopefully into the future.
When you think back to when he signed that first one, when he replaced Counts, everybody has high hopes, expectations, and everything. What were you thinking at that time that the reality might be?
Well, I was glad to have him. It was the continuity. He'd been there the whole time I've been here. He'd been with Counts that whole time, and we were all familiar with him. He was familiar with us. He kind of just knew how we did things, ran things in spring training, the day-to-day during the season. So it was good to have somebody that'd been around, and things didn't change a ton. When he took over, obviously him and Counts, different personalities, different way of going about things, but he was familiar with us and the way we did things, and I was glad that he was the one that was taken over, and obviously it went really well the first couple of years.
Yeah.
In baseball, everything is quantified, but we have a hard time figuring out how to quantify the manager's part in all of this. What do you think is his part in the last 2 years?
Well, I think manager, right, is what the name is. You're managing people, you're managing personalities. You have things that you have to help navigate throughout the season. You have to try to get the best out of guys, motivate guys, get everybody pulling in the same direction. And I think he does a really good job, doing that. Like you said, it's hard to quantify. Like there's nothing that you can do that's like, oh well, this impact had this had this much impact on the group, but it does. And success and all that starts from the top and works its way down. And when you have somebody that has a strong, consistent message and is good at motivating people, good at bringing the best out of guys and getting guys on the same page, it makes a difference over the course of 6 months.
We've kind of seen that balance of he's got the sense of humor, but he also has high expectations for you guys. Just how well do you think threading that needle the way he does? Like, how does that contribute to your success?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, right? Anybody that's been around Murph knows he likes to joke around, mess around, have a good time, but there's also an element of seriousness to it, and when it's time to be serious. And I think players know when it's time to have fun with them and joke around, but know when it's time to lock it in and you have to do your job, and there's high expectations and you have to meet those expectations, or there's going to be some discussions if you don't, and that's fine. I think knowing where you stand with the manager and knowing where you don't ever have to wonder what Murph's thinking ever. He's going to tell you good or bad, and I think that's one of his strengths. And I think he does a great job, like you said, keeping it light, but also very serious at the same time.
Christian, to Todd's question, I think when he was hired, a lot of people on the outside were like, okay, who is this guy, or the least likely 2 or 3 candidates or whatever. Does he fit this team well? It just, you guys every year, it's like we joked around earlier in the week about how the expectations are always low, and then you guys always, do better than that. So you kind of fit that.
Well, I think people in the game of baseball are very familiar with Murph, whether that's from his college days or just being the bench coach with Counts or being around with the Padres. So I don't think he was a name that people were surprised and were like, who is this guy? I think people really know him. But I think he's done a good job. He fits a young team really well with getting guys to believe in themselves, and the kind of players that have made up our team over the years, where guys maybe hadn't had success other places and kind of come here and find their footing and find success and find themselves and just blend into the group and get the most out of guys. And I think Murph has a big impact on that.
How does he facilitate you as a leader?
How so?
Does he empower you? Does he just say, hey, I'm going to stay out of this. You talk to the guys because they respect you, stuff like that?
I think it's like open kind of communication with not only myself, but some of the other guys on the team. I think we've kind of talked about how he's got 5 or 6 of us that kind of meet with him on a monthly basis, or myself and Murph have a good relationship because we've been together. This is going on our 9th year together, and been through a lot, been through some tough times, been through some really good seasons, been on a bunch of division winning teams, so you understand like the standard and what it takes to get to that point every season. And if there's something to talk about, we definitely talk about it, and something needs to be said to the group, then it is. But you know, I don't think any of it's manufactured. I think it's all kind of genuine. And, you know, everything's kind of case by case.
With that experience he had as a college coach, are there moments in here where you see shades of that kind of style, where maybe it's a little different than some other guys, but it seems to work with this group?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I can't speak on it 100% because I've never experienced college baseball, but I guess, you know, some things are considered, you know, quote unquote college, but I think he does a good job of, you know, keeping it professional, understanding this is Major League Baseball, it's not college baseball, and, you know, you have to treat guys a certain way when it comes to that. But I think he also, you know, does what he feels is appropriate, whether, you know, sometimes whether you like it or not, like, that's what he's going to do, and you have to respect it. And at the end of the day, it's Major League Baseball, and there's standards, and if you want to win, you have to do things a certain way, and you know, there's no getting around that. If you want to be on a winning team, you have to do certain things, and he's all about that, holds everybody accountable, and you know, we love having him.